Embarrassing. That's the one word that I can use to describe this game as UCF goes to Waco and loses 30-3 on the road against Baylor. What does this mean moving forward, and how likely is UCF to go to a bowl game now? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Charge On. As always, I am your host, Sean Green, and as always, we are sponsored by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, I hope you didn't take UCF because this was a rout. Baylor absolutely obliterated UCF, but hopefully you use FanDuel on most of your bets because they have the best lines out there. Use FanDuel. It's the best way to make your bets for NBA, college football, NFL, anything you want. It is on FanDuel. Use FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and a proud sponsor of the Charge On podcast. I'm in New York. Thank God. Let's just start with this. Thank God we didn't do a live watch along, because that was my first thought was, boy, these never live watch alongs. I love them. I love interacting with you guys. That's what I missed. It would have been fun to be, doing it and having jokes spread about how bad UCF played. But I'm in New York. I attended the New York UCF Knights watch party in New York City. I made time, went out there, made an appearance. It was fun. They have a good little setup for the watch parties. They had at a nice brewery in New York. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I left at halftime. I'm not gonna front. I've got other stuff I've got to do in New York while I'm here. That was kind of always the plan. Made my way over there. This was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. The minute this game started, UCF was not ready to play.
What gave it away?
I don't know. Just
the multiple third down, the 2 or 3 third and long conversions on the first drive. Was it that?
Maybe. Yeah. And Trigg isn't a phenomenal player. I mean, Trigg's going to be a really good player in the NFL. He was beating you on a bum leg. He was not right for most of the game. Nick Gaddis joins me, per usual. Not usually for post game shows.
Actually, I don't usually make the post game show, but
no, usually not for the post game show.
The stars, they aligned this time.
Crazy how they aligned.
I don't know if this is the game that I wanted to be talking about necessarily, but I told you this off air. If it wasn't for the fact that UCF is in what I've been saying is year 0 of a rebuild here, with a bunch of players who are not really the long-term future, at least on one side of the football, I would be a lot more chapped about what I just watched for almost 4 hours or so, or whatever it was, 3.5 hours. You used the word embarrassing. I guess I would use the word lifeless to describe. I guess you could describe the entire team that way, but this offense today was straight up offensive. This was pretty brutal stuff, Sean. I got to be honest with you. Unless you are a diehard UCF fan, I just don't know how you sat through that entire game and didn't decide at some point to do something else, because I didn't think UCF was ever even going to score points in this game, and if not for a miracle play at the end of the half, they quite literally would have just gotten shut out, and they never looked like they were a threat of scoring.
Yeah, and I left the watch party, but I did keep up with the game and watch the game on my phone while I was doing my other things. And yeah,
that's okay.
I think
the first quarter is all you needed to see.
Yeah, I know at the end of the quarter, Baylor fumbled, and then we scored the field goal, which ended up being UCF's only points. My issue, and listen, it's all fun and games, and we like talking to fans on our comments, and I know certain fans are very protective of the team, and I think we're very protective of the brand of UCF. But I think certain fans got a little chapped when we said that this is just, we called it like we saw it. This is not the same team on the road. And I know we've talked about in years past, this is a different team. That's correct. This is the epitome. This is exactly, Nick, what we have seen now for the third time when they go on the road. And I'm okay making excuses. It's fun to make excuses because it makes the losses easier to swallow sometimes. But my gosh, there is no excuse for how poorly you play today. There's no excuse for how bad the offense came out. There's no excuse for how bad the defense came out. The defense was awful in the first half. There's no excuses why you can't get a yard on a 3rd and 1. There's no excuses why receivers aren't getting open. There's no excuses why Taven is underthrowing guys. There's no excuses for why offensive linemen are making stupid false start penalties consistently on the road. There's no excuse for bad play calling. There's no excuses. You can make excuses all you want. At the end of the day, this was an embarrassing performance. And what's the one thing about all 4 losses this year? One of them came at home in an embarrassing second half, but UCF played good for a majority of the game. What were the 3 worst games? Started fast and then kind of looked bad for the rest of the game. What was the 3 worst losses of the season? Oh, all on the road. Oh, they scored 20 points against Kansas State, which, let's be real, no, you actually didn't score 20. You got lucky on most of your points that game. You scored 11 against Cincinnati, which, again, you had 3 for most of the game. You scored a late 8 points in that game. And then, you know what? You scored 3 here. You're really averaging about 10 points a game on the road. So I'm sorry. I think this team is better than mediocre. But I think we know right now, like, if you're playing them on the road, they are a bad team on the road. And that kind of makes sense. But when you are losing 30-3 to a 4-4 football team that has probably one of the worst defenses in the Big 12, if not the worst, and you just made them look like a top 10 defense, I'm sorry, that constitutes you as a bad football team. You weren't ready to play.
I can't figure it out, Sean. I mean, they can beat North Carolina and West Virginia like a drum. And yet, every time they have played an average to above average opponent, and I guess Cincinnati, they're better than above average, obviously. That's a good football team. But every time they've played an opponent that's average or better, Kansas game, I guess, notwithstanding, they just look incompetent. They look literally incompetent. They look completely lifeless. By the way, did I mention that they were coming off a bye week, and this was the performance that they put out there? Did they look ready to play?
This was literally West Virginia coming and playing UCF. West Virginia coming off of a bye week. We looked just as bad as West Virginia did against us.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
First time they failed to score a touchdown since November 26, 2015. That was 121 games ago. I was like a sophomore in high school. I'm 26 now, by the way. I don't even know. I really don't even know how to say it other than they were just lifeless. Like, I mean, this is a bad Baylor defense. I don't think I'm offending any Baylor fan when I tell them that their defense is really bad coming into this football game. And we talked about how they are so susceptible to the run. Well, UCF can't run the football, so is it going to matter much? At one point, they had 8 carries for 11 yards. They can't move. They cannot run the football. And once again, after the defense decided to spot Baylor a 14-0 lead, the offense gets all the way down to the red zone. 3rd and 1. Run up to Miles Montgomery. Nothing.
That's the play I lost it.
Yeah, the 3rd and 1, they get stuffed. Shocker. Where have I seen that before? Oh, that's right, every game. 4th and 1, this is where I lost it. 4th and 1, I don't know if this was the read, if this was the design play call. I have to think it was. Unless somebody tells me any different. I haven't listened to Scott Frost after the game if he was asked about it. The design play call was to a backup offensive lineman, where we're flailing our arms in the air trying to get a pass interference or a holding call. That was the best we got on 4th and 1. That's it. I mean, that's unserious stuff right there. But that's an indictment on you as a football team that you don't trust your offense enough and you don't trust your offensive line enough to get 1 freaking yard. And you lost a game at Kansas because you couldn't get a yard. 4 times, by the way. And now you can't get first downs because of the same reason. That's not why they lost the game. They lost 30-3. They got their ass kicked. Like I said, if not for a miracle interception by Derek LeBlanc, of all people, you get shut out. It like you said, it's UCF doesn't have much talent on the offense, and I think we've known that. But should it really look as bad as it did today? I mean, we 8 penalties again. Penalties continue to be a problem. The usage of the players that you do have that I think have some juice, looking at Jaden Nixon here, please someone explain to me how Jaden Nixon finishes a football game with 3 touches. Am I missing something? What has Miles Montgomery done at all this year to show you that he can be the primary guy back there? I'm not saying Jaden Nixon goes back there and gets every touch and all of a sudden the run game's golden, but that guy's got some juice to him. He provides a spark to your offense. He's a big play waiting to happen. 3 touches. I can't wrap my head around it, Sean. I can't.
Unfortunately, and I truly do mean it, and I said it since week 1, and I got told, Nick, you even said, and I get it. Sometimes I can be a little much. Sometimes I can be doom and gloom when I don't need to be. But I said the run game in week 1 did not look right. And I said, this looks weird. It doesn't look like a running attack that UCF is going to, and not now. With that being said,
I think it's getting worse.
It's way worse. And I'll say this. If you would have told me week 1 that this is what our rushing attack would be, I would have laughed. I'd be like, okay, no, it's bad, but it's not. It's
a miracle they won 4 games with this rushing attack.
100%. Listen, here is the UCF Knights. If a team is able to basically just take the run out and force UCF, because here at Baylor, we talked about Baylor puts 2 high safeties, right? And it makes it very increasingly difficult to have big plays. So you need to almost just pick up the easy yards. UCF was inept to do that. They couldn't pick up easy yards. They couldn't get anything on the ground. Baylor, to their credit, stopped it. So you're left with, okay, Taven Jackson is going to have to go just be perfect. It's much more challenging when you have 8 penalties, most of them offensive line penalties. You're always behind the sticks. You're always having to be perfect. And yeah, Taven wasn't good today. Like, Taven wasn't. Like, that's, a sheer fact. He wasn't good. But it makes it way harder on him when you have everybody else making mistakes and when you have everybody else not at the top of their game. The offensive line is bad. Like, it is. Like, we know this. Like, at the end of the day, you go on the road, you can't have procedural penalties. How many games are we in? 8? 8 games into the season, you can't keep having the stupid penalties that they have. I'm sorry. It's just, it's ridiculous. You can't have, at one time, 8 carries for 11 yards. Like, these are things that if you are a college football team, 6-6 is your goal because you're not a good team. You are an average team. And stuff like this right here, getting absolutely blown out, no competition, since the opening whistle, the game was basically over. You just have to hope and pray that the players throw this one in the garbage and know we have really, really 2 more opportunities. And you need to go 2-0 in those games. But at the end of the day, this was a winnable game. We labeled this as a potential upset, which it wasn't even really that much of an upset opportunity because the line was like 3.5, 4.5. So it's just frustrating when Sawyer Robertson dots you up, 267, 3 touchdowns. The defense, for as much praise as we've given them, it was bad today. It was. There was really, I'll give them credit in the second half. They showed some fight. They were holding them to field goals for a lot of the time.
I mean, they kept them. I mean, until the last touchdown.
They had 23 until the end.
I mean, they scored 6 points from the middle portion of the first quarter, all the way almost to the end of the game. The defense did not. The defense had a bad quarter. I don't think they had a bad game.
Yeah, but they moved the ball. Like, that's the thing. They didn't have a bad game. But you also have to understand, like, I'm not giving, yes, the defense was much better than the offense today. And that's been the offense is the reason, let's call it, the offense is the reason you get blown out today. Like, it is. And what did we say? We said if you keep this Baylor team within the 20s, like, you probably have a good shot at winning. We just didn't see that UCF would only score 3 points in this game. Can
I also remind you that somehow the Oklahoma State Cowboys managed to score 27 points on this Baylor team? And granted,
I'm not nervous about it.
Granted, Oklahoma State just went out and beat Houston pretty good out of nowhere.
Virginia.
Or no, who am I thinking of? That was West Virginia, right? Not
Virginia.
State.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm getting my bottom of the barrel Big 12 teams mixed up here. Yeah. Apologize, reboot on that one. But point being, the Oklahoma State team managed to score 27, and this offense, I hate even counting the field goal. Like, you scored 0 points. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you scored 0 points. This was the fewest amount of points that a Baylor defense has given up in a conference game since 2006. That's 19 years for those who are not good at math, which, like myself. Yeah, I don't even really know what else to say. There's nothing. There's not a positive note. There's nothing you can hold on to from this game. It is a typical turn the page and try to forget about it. But if that's the performance coming off a bye week that we get, that's just very disappointing for a game, like you said, we felt was kind of winnable.
225 total yards of offense, 1 for 11 on third down. Which UCF, I think they put the graphic up that UCF was 108th in the country or something in third down conversion percentage. That's really bad. If you guys don't know that, it's going to get worse after this one. They're probably going to be one of the 5 worst teams at third down conversions. Fourth down, they were also 0 for 3. We really can't complete a fourth down on the road. Red zone 0 for 2, which is brutal. Both times they were in the red zone, they couldn't convert. That kind of stinks. Tackles for loss, I'll give them credit. We had 9 tackles for loss, I think.
Malachi Lawrence had a good game.
Yeah, he did. I think Cole Kozlowski had 11 he had a good game, 11 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass breakup. Malachi, like you said, he had a good game. I really like Jaden Bellamy. I think Jaden Bellamy is a really good corner. I don't know what else really to say, guys. I think, realistically, the thought process is, this is kind of what we said. I said, listen, I know UCF is just not a good road team. And I understand the simplification or the oversimplification of that. This just shows you they are a completely different team on the road this season. Take away the Gus Malzahn era. This season alone, they are bad on the road. They make way too many mistakes. They can't move the ball on offense. It's bad. It is a bad football team. Now at home, there's good signs there. There's life. But the likelihood of them going on the road to beating a Utah, or not a Utah, a BYU, the likelihood of them going on the road and putting a fight against Texas Tech.
BYU and Texas Tech are going to absolutely pummel this team.
Bloodbaths, because this team can't perform on the road. If it was at home, I think UCF would actually give them a good fight. Unfortunately, right now with this young team, and yes, you can make that excuse. It's a young team, inexperienced team. They can't go on the road and yes, Cincinnati was your only shot. And even that never felt close, even though you lost by 9 points. It never felt close because right now your offense is just not there. So there's not much else to say, guys. I mean, there really isn't. UCF was really bad today.
We'll flush this one down the toilet, and later this week we'll dive into Houston,
which
is a Friday. But I mean, Houston just lost pretty good to West Virginia, like we said. In a way, it's like, well, now we have to go play Houston, coming off a shocking loss. I wonder if they're going to be motivated come Friday at UCF, and if again, we'll get into it later in the year. But later in the week, but if all we're going to hold on to going into Houston is, well, it's the space game. What else am I? What am I supposed to do with that? Is that all I am to do next Friday as well? It's the space game. Crazy stuff happens all the time in those games.
100%. And vibes are low right now. Like, I'm not going to front you. I mean, again, this is kind of, you got to go through these growing pains, I guess. But the positive is you still have 4 games left. And yeah, if you beat Houston, the likelihood of you going to a bowl game is high. If you lose to Houston, I'm just being upfront with you guys. And listen, it's not good for our ratings or our listeners and views to tell you it. If they lose next week, they're not going to a bowl game. The likelihood is that we'll get to 5 wins. And you go into the offseason a 5-win football team, which would be one more than last year. But that's just the honest truth. That's just the honest truth.
And keep in mind too, I don't really think I've said his name much throughout this entire season because I'm not even in evaluation mode on him, honestly, this year. I don't really put, I don't know about you, but I don't put much of this on Scott Frost. Really?
No, it's on the players.
I can get upset about the uses of Jaden Nixon for sure. I can get upset about the offensive line rotation that was going on for a while for sure, and maybe some play calls here that he'd like to have back. But this is quite literally, I think everybody can see with their 2 eyes, this is a talent issue, and that's expected. So like, it's just one of those things where it's hard. It's almost hard to analyze games like these because like I think you can hear it in the tone of my voice on this show. I am very upset at the fact that they played as poorly as they did, and I'm bothered by it. And I didn't see them going out and losing 30-3 to this Baylor team, but it is also the first year of this operation, and a lot of these players are not your future on offense. They just aren't, and they're not showing me anything. That entire offensive line, big picture, I don't know how anybody on that offensive line could possibly start for this team next year. Maybe Carter Miller.
Maybe Carter, yeah. But even Carter, he's been struggling recently.
I mean, right. I don't know, man.
We'll see.
I don't know, man.
4 games left. This was a rough one. There's no 2 ways about it. You gotta go 2-2. Gotta go 2-2. We keep preaching bowl game. Scott Frost really isn't preaching it. He's going 1 game at a time. At the end of the day, you just got pummeled on the road.
If they don't get it done this Friday, then
you're done.
You're done. You're done because you're not. You're done. Crazy things can happen in college football, but I do not see this team rolling into Provo or rolling into Lubbock and pulling out anything. They haven't told me they haven't even told me they can they can't even be functional on offense on the road.
Defensively,
win a game.
And defensively, it has looked the same. Like the defense gives up really bad quarters, but then they lock in. So it's like you kind of know, okay, this defense is going to go on the road and they're going to give up a really bad quarter. And then
it's usually the first quarter.
Usually early. And unfortunately, we said it early in the season, Nick. Remember, we said this team cannot play from behind. This is not a team that can play from 2 touchdowns.
In hindsight, you could have bounced out after 7-zip, but I mean, after I went to 14-0, I'm like, well, that's that. GG's. I could have tweeted that. Let the post game show is brought to you by. Yep. We could have done that at 14-0. There was zero confidence.
Yep.
Shot completely.
Well, UCF is 4-4. Heading into next week in the space game against Houston. Let us know what you think. Are we being too harsh? Is this a better road team than I'm looking or Nick's seeing? Let us know down in the comments. We don't think so, but maybe you do. I'm glad. Again, I am glad we didn't have to do a live watch along because that would have been a hard 4 hours. But
all the live watch alongs are just nothing but just
pain,
enduring L's. That's all it's been. The history of the watch along.
Endurance and enduring, same thing. The endurance of just talking and being in pain for 4 hours.
Well, get yourself back home from New York safely, please. And
I will.
Well, I'm sure we'll have an episode up by Wednesday,
Thursday. Houston.
Since we play Friday.
Oh yeah, Wednesday. Damn. Yeah, you're right. I don't know when this is going up. We'll see how good of a Wi-Fi I have. Hopefully by Sunday, or hopefully Sunday, hopefully Saturday. but you guys will hopefully.
If you put me in charge of posting this today, it might never see the light of day.
Exactly. My bad Wi-Fi might actually still give people a chance to see this in a timely manner. But all right, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Charge On. Please like, subscribe, shot, comment, share. Do what you do. We greatly, greatly appreciate it always. We're sponsored by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. I don't know what the line is yet, but I'm going to assume Houston's probably favored. But make sure you're checking because FanDuel will have the best line for UCF versus Houston space game on Friday. You've got NBA, the Magic. I mean, they played technically tonight, which is Saturday, but they might be hitting a stride here. We'll see. NFL football tomorrow. Make sure you use FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and a proud sponsor of the Charge On podcast. All right, that's going to do it. Like Nick said, Wednesday we'll have our pregame podcast. Friday, it's a late one, 8 p.m. space game. So it makes Nick fun, or he's going to have fun. So hopefully
Saturday is my day of rest, so it's fine. I prefer it on Friday at 8 versus Saturday at 8.
That's true. That's true. All right, everybody. UCF loses to West Virginia 30-3 and fall to 4-4 on the year. All right, everybody. This has been Charge On presented by FanDuel. We will see you next week.